Hi, welcome to the new episode of the Arado podcast. We are joined today by Sebastian and our CEO Anssi to discuss a bit on the differences between the Swedish and Finnish IT consultancy culture and Sebastian's company Cfinder. Hi Sebastian. Would you want to give us a little background on what have you? What is your career like, and how did you sort of end up in the end up working with IT consultants and the field in general?
Well, like the short answer is that I did not know what I wanted to do, and I studied finance first, and I took a bachelor in finance and hung around with a lot of people in finance and did a lot of stock trading and stuff like that, and thought that money is the only thing that's worth anything. And after a while, I just like hated it. So I went back to school and started to study psychology, and ended up actually taking a 1-year master in psychology as well. So I studied for a long time and came out, did not know what I wanted to do. And I was working at the bank at the moment, and my boss like sort of loved me. So I could actually just ask her for anything, and she would like, yeah, fine, do that. So I ended up trying. I asked her like, I'm a little bit interested in like recruiting and interviewing and the whole process with that. And she said, oh, okay, come join me. We're having we're having a group of newbies coming in, so you could be a part of that. So I actually ended up hiring my own colleagues, and I wasn't even. I was just a temp. Doing it while I was working, while I was studying. So I wasn't even there full time. So that was fun, and I thought that I'll continue to do that. And with my background on economics, I started at a company where I recruited CFOs and different economy assistants and accountants to different companies. And then a friend of mine. Or his brother, actually, the brother of a friend of mine, he told me to, don't work with accountants and stuff. That is like so saturated. You should go IT. Like the next week, I had a job offer from an IT company, just sort of because I was already tired of the place that I was in, and I started there, and that was a competitor to my friend's brother's company. So he called me up and was pissed off. What the hell? Why did you go there? I was like, you told me to go towards IT. He's like, but I didn't mean them. Like, I was like, okay, you didn't offer me anything. Yeah, and that was a whole process of him trying to recruit me to his company for 3 years. But I really loved it at the company that I was with, and the setup was really nice because. It looked like the classic or the traditional consultant companies. They usually have like the company and then you have employees. The setup at this company was that everybody was a freelancer, so they had their own company, but we had agreements with the consultants that you can only take assignments through us, and you need to pay a certain percentage of your income to the company that I was working with, and for doing that you get a place to be. As a freelancing consultant, it could be quite lonely. You're on your assignment and you're maybe there for a year, and then your colleagues switch. It takes about a year to get to know people, and sometimes you have longer assignments, but you're still like an outsider because you're not an employee of that company, and you can get kicked out anytime. Yeah. So this was the setup, and also we helped them with finding assignments when they were looking for assignments. So this is like sort of how I got into it.
That is actually pretty funny. It's on the setup of having a sort of a collection of freelancers and helping them to find jobs sounds really similar, doesn't it, Anssi?
Yeah, it's actually quite close to what Arado is, but we are not like a freelancers. We're just employees in the company, all of us. But I think if you take that aside, then we are having same kind of background there and same kind of like.
Yeah, that was the point with the company that I was with as well. Like it was sort of a traditional consulting company, but in another, like you had a choice to have your own company at the same time. So it was a mix.
Yeah, and something what we have already learned actually, if we compare quickly, now getting a bit of compared mode already, but it's interesting to see that actually, I feel at least that there's quite a lot of more freelancers in Stockholm and Sweden in general compared to Finland. Like it's this also a bit shows off actually.
That's interesting because we have been talking previously, like before this podcast, about to talk about to compare the markets, and the truth is that I really don't know that much of the Finnish market. My mother is from Finland, so I speak Finnish, and I've been a lot in Finland, but you know, all of my cousins basically moved abroad, and no one is in the IT business. So I know more about the industry in the UK and London because I have friends there that work as freelancing consultants like overall, and then I know about Finland. So this is really exciting for me to hear about the differences and the similarities, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny actually also in that sense that we started like let's hear about Stockholm, Sweden, what it's about, and now we're heading over to UK.
Yeah. Audience will have to take notes.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, it's really interesting to see because there are different markets and different places to work, and it's nice to hear about those.
At least I think in Finland it is people usually find themselves sort of a part of some bigger company that collects consultants in one place. Like they might even be working a bit like freelancers, but they are still not sort of legally freelancers.
Yeah.
Is there something in Sweden sort of driving people to be freelancers?
I'm gonna like be honest and say I don't know, but
Yeah.
if I'm allowed to speculate, I think in Sweden there's a really good climate for starting businesses. It's really easy. You get a lot of help. I think the tax agencies are really helpful as well. They want you to do right thing. Like they don't want you to they're not chasing you. That's not their ideology. Like, are you doing bad? They want to help you to do the right things and pay the right amount of tax, even privately, but also with companies. And it's really easy. I started my own company like in a week. The thing that took time was the name, because they check that there's no infringement on like other trademarks in Europe, at least. So like trying to name your company Coca-Cola is a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
but there's also smaller companies that are named. My name, the company, the name of my company, because we're also, as we're talking about the freelancing, we'll talk about that a little bit later, I guess. But Cfinder is like the freelancer hub in Sweden, and we're doing almost like a what do you call it? It's almost like the founders and the co-founders and everyone has their own company, and we're gigging towards Cfinder. So I have my own company. I'm just invoicing Cfinder for my work, even though I also own a bit of Cfinder and have been on the journey of starting it. So my company name is Avalonia because I call my daughter Avalon. So that's so OU is basically the Finnish equivalent of AB, aktiebolag. Osake Yritys, is that what it's called? So Avalonia AB is the name of the company, and I got rejected for Avalon because that's actually what I call her, Avalon. Her name is Ava. So I got rejected on Avalon, but Avalonia worked. So
funny that it's always hard to find names. Is it child or company? And you try to get the both with the one shot.
Yeah. So I think that's what driving, and also like within IT especially, because I think maybe that's where it's happening the most. There has been like such a good market for at least like 4 or 5 years now, where you couldn't find a good Java developer that was available because they were all in assignments. So it wasn't like really risky to start your own company if you wanted to as an IT consultant or as an IT person or like in that field overall, because there was so much jobs and assignments because companies couldn't find the talent they needed. Because of digitalization, I guess, like everybody's digitalizing now. Yeah, so that's the reality in Stockholm and mostly like Sweden, at least the bigger cities.
How did you actually, now if we quickly take the UK viewpoint, what was your feeling? Was there also like freelancers ladder, or was it as supportive as I can hear that Sweden was actually for freelancers in general, like make it easy to start and so on?
I'm not sure if I heard your question. What's your question? What my feeling is with UK or?
Yes, exactly. Now that like if you think that in Sweden there is really good support on freelancers getting setting up companies, and so was it actually in the UK also that you felt there's a lot of
No. So my understanding is that in the UK it's even easier. In Sweden, there is like still a lot of admin to do. Like there's bureaucracy, and my understanding is that in the UK it's more high pace. It's easier to just start a company. It's cheaper. Also, like it's like £10, whereas in Sweden, if you want to start, it's a little bit more. So and it's a little bit more work. From my understanding, I'm not an expert, but that's my understanding of it. So it's a little bit more high pace as well in at least London, where my friends live, and it's not like if I talk about Sweden, in Sweden it's like you're either like employed somewhere, or usually like most people are employed somewhere, and this is like sort of the standard. And starting your own company is a little bit cool in Sweden. It's like, oh, you're an entrepreneur, even though you're just doing the same thing, but in your own company. But but in the UK, so if you go like I start my own company, I'm a consultant or whatever, it's like less likely that you would go and become an employee somewhere. Whereas in the UK, I think that's not that dramatic. It's like, yeah, I was a consultant on this assignment, and these didn't want me to be a consultant or a contractor. So what I did was I started there as an employee. And you tend to change jobs more often in the UK. Like it's not uncommon for someone to be at a job for like 6 months, a year, and then change. Whereas in Sweden, it's a little bit, it doesn't look that good on your CV if you changed your job like every year, because the employer will be like, okay, so I'll get you for a year and then you'll quit. And that's the attitude. But I think like if someone is there for a year and giving like their everything, that's a really good year. You get a lot from the employer. And then of course there are aspects of like, did the person get really like, did it have the time to understand what we're doing and getting the value out of the person? I don't know, but still I don't think it's bad to change jobs often if you're not happy. Like if you're happy, stay. If you're not, leave. Why not?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Sorry, I took a bit off from the Sweden topic, but it's so
no problem.
I feel that you have so good experience behind that it's really nice to hear a bit of those, and there are differences. It's really nice.
Yeah. How is it in Finland? I have to ask. Like, is it, because I feel like, and no offense to like Finns listening to this, but my experience when growing up, because I was in Finland like maybe 4 or 5 times a year, and all the years I was there from like when I was 4 years old, my mother sent me with Finnair alone to my aunt, because my aunt worked at the Vantaa airport. So she picked me up like inside of the, what do you call it? Like the gate. And then I went to my cousin for a day or two, and then he just put me on a bus to Ikalinen, where my grandmother lived. And like when I was 4 years old, there weren't cell phones and stuff. It was like, yeah, look down out the window and see if your grandmother's there. If she is, get off the bus. But
Still alive.
yeah, so no offense, but growing up, I always felt like Finland is like really similar to Sweden in like in terms of like companies and stuff, but a little bit behind, because smaller population, maybe less influence from like other parts of the world. I don't know, which made it like, if I would have been a little bit older, I think I would have done like a lot of entrepreneurial stuff in Finland, because is it tori, like where you can buy and sell like old stuff? Yeah. So tori, like we had that in Sweden, like I think at least 10 years before I heard that it was available in Finland. So like 10 years span, you had time to make it in Finland, and no one did. But this is like sort of my experience. So I have to, my question is it like the story I told about, it's a little bit, not like frowned upon to like change jobs often, and maybe even start your own companies? Like, what are you doing? Like, get in line, be an employer like everyone else? Or is that the attitude, or how's the climate in Finland according to this?
Yeah, that's actually a good question in general. Like I think there is a bit, if I compare, like you said, in Sweden and UK, that in UK you change often, and that's kind of business as usual, normal. But I feel like in Finland it's also that if someone has changed all the time, first thoughts people are having that what's wrong in that, what went south. It's not like feeling that okay, it's a business as usual. He just is a person who is eager to try out things and is eager to find what he really or she really wants to do. Might be all about that, actually. You never know what is but the first feelings often is like you said, what has gone wrong.
Yeah. But it still is in Sweden as well. Like this is my first thought as well. It's like, why did you change jobs like 5 times during these 4 years, for instance? So it's still that way here, I would say.
And I think sort of comparing the like how people's attitudes towards entrepreneurship, I think it is sort of starting to change here now, that it's also becoming kind of hip to be an entrepreneur. But I think it is sort of going through a similar change that has already happened in Sweden, and this is exactly why it's fun to sort of compare these two cultures, that because I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 years we would have a lot more freelancers in Finland as well.
Yeah. But it's probably even faster now with like the whole internet and stuff, and like globalism, because I feel like Finland is really, and I hope so. I mean, I wasn't even I wasn't even a Swedish citizen. I only had like Finnish citizenship until it was time to go to the army, and then I applied for a Swedish citizenship. So I did the army here in Sweden. The draft or whatever it's called. So I'm like, I feel really Finnish. I always like, I'm a fanatic in hockey, for instance. I hate Sweden in hockey, and I root for Finland so hard. And this has been like a trauma in my whole life, because Sweden usually, I hate this. I don't even want to say this loud, but Sweden does win sometimes, and sometimes they win even though they should have lost. With like number wise, so some days I didn't even go to school because I knew I would be like, they would like the whole week would be about that 5-1 thing or whatever. So so like I feel really Finnish, and I hope like that, and I feel that Finland is coming. Like the whole Rovio thing has helped, I think, with the Angry Birds, and a whole lot of other things coming out of Finland. And maybe because Finland is like next to Russia, but they have a neighboring country down south, which is Estonia, which is really like ahead in the whole IT sector. I think it's really cool. Like it's a small country, new country. They sort of okay, you could do this and this, but they don't have the what do you call it? Like the legacy. And the whole bureaucracy. So they are like more agile to try new things, and maybe Finland can learn something from them, and not just look at Sweden always to see what we're doing.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And Estonia is really interesting. Like it seems like it's like the whole government has been taken over by startup entrepreneurs. Like
Yeah,
it's really
that's my feeling as well. Like digital voting, why not? Come on.
yeah.
What could go wrong? Stop being a boring.
So I guess there might be actually a pretty nice way to sort of take a bit of the best things from both worlds and just sort of hang around in the middle here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. So so I'm guessing, like you said, like more entrepreneurs in 10 years. I'm guessing 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
I think so. Just
After this podcast, 1 year.
exactly. One thing what
So no, I hope that.
one
sorry.
thing what I think also different compared to like Sweden and Finland is that the Swedish are probably more eager to push out really out at what they are doing. Finnish people normally it's more like quiet and don't tell that and all the success stories and stuff like that. They just keep themselves a bit like, oh, that was nothing. And you guys,
Yeah. I think that's I think so too. Better at, as you say, like telling, not like Americans that where there's no success they still find success stories, but Finland, I think they're a little bit maybe too humble for their own good sometimes, and maybe I don't know if that will change or if they'll find another way to do it and still be successful. Problem is that nowadays, like, everything is information flow, and if you're out there and people can see you and hear about you, you will probably be more successful than if you're not. So I'm guessing like VP has some job to do on the marketing part there. But starting a podcast is really good. Like I think that's a really good idea. That's the one way. Like radio is dead, so why not go podcast?
Exactly, and you can do whatever you like with it. Sort of related to marketing, I sort of wanted to ask about sort of how do freelancers then get gigs in Sweden? Because at least in Finland, it still seems like it's really based on like personal connections and the sort of network you have around you, and it actually people get jobs pretty, like you could call it organically, that they sort of tip each other that, hey, there's a job here and you could do this over there, and if they hear that their friend, like their developer friend, is free, they just sort of ask them to join their company and stuff like that. So how does the sort of sales work in Sweden?
That's very interesting, because I think that it used to be more like that, but with the growth of the market and more players coming in, I think companies have, started to do a process with the whole consultant, getting in consultants and contractors, because it couldn't be too nepotism. Like the nepotism was like sort of a danger. Like you get one guy in, he's charismatic, but he sucks, and he gets his other friend that sucks, and like, and stuff like that can happen. And I guess like when there's also more to choose from, like there's more available. Like we have a lot of people coming from like India and Poland as well, that are good contractors and good skilled labor. And that's like, they don't have a network, but they're still really good at what they do. So it has gone more like to framework, what do you call it? Framework, deals with different companies. So you're not allowed to sell to a certain client if you don't have this framework agreement. So it has gone more towards that. There are a lot of problems with that as well, because it gets like sort of, so it gets hard to really get the good guy, or it could be challenging to get the best talent or the best match in those cases as well, because there's like so much distance between the client and the consultant. And that's actually one of the things that we are trying to solve with Cfinder as well, the company that I work with now. So we're trying to take away the gap between the client and the consultant, and give them a possibility to talk to each other. Like, what is it that you need? Yeah, I need you to, have certain amount of experience with Docker or React or whatever. And if I'm a salesperson, I've worked with sales, like I know how much I want to make this sale. And I have Ansi on the other side. And it's like, yeah, he knows React. Yeah, definitely. Do you know React? No, but tell them that you do. Or go take a course or something because you need to know React. So that happens, you know. So I think that this is a way to make it more like transparent and also like helping both clients and consultants to find each other and talk to each other directly without the middleman when it's not necessary. I do believe that salespeople and middlemen, so to speak, they do make a job that is really good. Like they help the client understand what is their pain or how can they do stuff, and they also can explain it usually to the consultant. But with the market growth, there has also been like a lot of players that, for instance, this is something that I really don't like. That say, for instance, that company X has a framework agreement with someone and they post their assignment, and then company Y comes and like sort of just copies their assignment and says that that it's their assignment, and they're essentially just selling the consultant to company X, which then sell like the broker. So brokers selling consultants to each other and taking like 5% in between and then 10% in between, and there's like so much money going away in between.
It doesn't actually. It doesn't add any value.
Doesn't add value, exactly. That was my point. So that has happened a lot. So that was also what we're working toward, like a more transparent model and more transparent, like, yeah, this is the client, this is the consultant. You guys work together, work it out, figure it out. If you need help, we have sales personnel that can help you as well. So, yeah.
I think this is actually a pretty good bridge to sort of talk about Cfinder a bit. The same here as well. So how does it sort of work in practice in doing that?
Well, so there are different ways, but we have a platform that sort of looks and feels like a LinkedIn or Facebook. And you can chat with other people, you can see their faces and stuff like that. And we also so that's how it works, like that's what it looks like. And you can upload your CV, no registering your CV like in rows, and we don't have any like this is the way you have to do it. You just upload whatever you have. I uploaded a CV in Excel just to see what happens. And we have a parser that sort of understands or semantically understands what you have done, like your CV. Like for instance, my CV, I just uploaded it, and it doesn't say anywhere like sales or interviewing or anything explicitly, but since it semantically like understands it, the NLP, the natural language processor, gets that this is the line of work I've been in, and this helps when clients or salespeople have an assignment. They can do the same. They just parse their assignment specifics, and this will match with a certain percentage. So if I have a Java assignment, I can post that, and it will match automatically with Java consultants that are available. And then you can chat with each other and just say like, okay, so I found your CV. Is this something you've done? Is this something you would like to do? What's your rate and stuff like that. So we're trying to like digitalize the consultant marketplace or the consultant industry with this way. And we have been doing a lot, like some changes, because the market wasn't really ready for this. So the clients did come into the platform, but they still ended up asking us to do all the work because they wanted to have someone to talk to. So we figured, like during this, like before the summer and stuff, we figured out some things that we could do to make it easier and make this happen. The thing that we're trying to do, like work for even more transparency. So this is how it works. We also want to make it possible for other consultants to talk to each other and help each other with assignments, and also get a kickback from it. So that's the new thing we're launching. So we're helping consultants also get other consultants into assignments, which is, in my opinion, a great thing, because as a consultant sitting on that specific client, I know exactly what their needs are. I can speak tech. I can understand if the person, maybe, I don't know, like engineers are not always the best in like interpersonal relationships and stuff like that, but still they can probably, you know, figure like, yeah, I would like to work with this guy.
And I think it actually helps that it has this sort of, it has a mechanism behind it that kind of lays the groundwork that this is a guy that I need to talk to. I think it's then easier to talk to them as well.
Yeah, you have a purpose. And also like the other thing, if you think of it like two branches or whatever, like, so we have that sort of, you know, hard wired like CV matches against assignments and stuff like that. But we also have the community part where we do now, like COVID has like changed the field a little bit. So it has been a lot of digital stuff, but and that's fine, but it's not always like optimal if you want to make people mingle with each other. But we are going to like, as soon as like we're doing a lot of things, like it could be an easy, you know, after work that we arrange. And then consultants can come. They know that, oh, you're from Cfinder. Oh, I recognize you. Yeah, we were at this assignment together. Oh, how are you? I'm fine. Yeah, I'm out of an assignment. Okay, what do you do? Like, yeah, I'm here and I used to do this and now I want to do this. Well, I'll talk to my client to see what I can do. So that happens. You know, they get to know each other. They get to trust each other because they do fun stuff together. Like they go karting or go to dinner together with like a crew. And this is a way for freelancers because, as I said like earlier, it could be a little bit lonely to be a freelancer. You're at your assignment, but you're still not one in the gang, and one of the like in the. So what you do is that you get your colleagues somewhere else and still get to have your own company and still have the autonomy to choose your assignments and without becoming an employee with a certain company. And also like the biggest thing for me starting my own company is the freedom of like tuning up and down. Like when COVID came, we just like lowered our salaries, we lowered our invoicing, like stuff like that. Like that makes me feel so much in control. That's what I like. And this is something that that's possible to do and still get the, you know, the colleagues and stuff that you can miss having being an employee person at a consultant company.
That was actually really interesting to hear that it's that was good comparison. It's like a new platform, kind of LinkedIn or similar, where you can join in, then start to find people, other possible new friends in one sense from a consulting point of view, and then you can find really work.
Yeah. And I urge everyone to like sign up or register. It takes like a second. We look up everyone, like, so it's a closed community. So in that sense that we look up everyone that applies and tries to see who it is. And we have a map that shows like from where you are. So if someone is from, for instance, Turku, you will be having your face in Finland, in Turku, and you can be there. And it's free to register and have your CV lying there. And it would be fun to, you know, expand our ideas to Finland and maybe, I don't know, work with Arado, see what we can do. Because this, like, COVID has, you know, handicapped a lot of industries, but like it also enabled and, you know, made digital things more quick, you know, more fast paced. So distance is not a problem. I would not have been joining your podcast, or you wouldn't have even invited me probably if it wasn't for COVID. Because now it doesn't matter if I live or am in Stockholm. And the same thing, I was a guest at another indie, what is it called? I forgot the name, but Tom Kaczynski, and a really nice guy in London. He invited me to join the indie club, his podcast, and he has a community in London, which he's trying to get going, and that would not have happened either if it wasn't for COVID. So you need to, you know, understand how you can use this situation to your advantage. And in my opinion, like for Cfinder, it's really easy. We have a digital platform, like everybody in the IT sector, welcome.
I think that's actually probably one of the reasons why you also feel that it's not like 10 years, 3 years, might be even 1 year what the difference happens, because now you don't have any border or
So, for me, it actually cut a little bit. I only heard that it doesn't feel that.
but it's actually that's probably one of the reasons now that like the borders are gone in that sense. Everyone is in a digital world, so it's
Yeah.
that's why you feel that nothing it's gonna take 10 years, 3 years. It might take only one.
No.
Because
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
now,
Yeah, and like it's about information flow, and information flows really, really quickly nowadays. And in my opinion, it's just like you need to position yourself to be in the right sort of context. That's what what's about. Like you guys having your podcast, you can have at least like one-way communication. I can't have that, you know. I'm guesting here, of course, so this is my opportunity. But like regular people can't. So what they need to do is to, you know, be in the context of like people and networks that have a possible or have a possibility to influence and connect and also like reach out to other people, because that's the future. And it doesn't matter if you're Indian, Polish, Swedish, Finnish, or I don't know, Ecuadorian. Like it's a new age now where people that speak the same language, in the sense that we understand each other and understand what the future holds. I have more in common with someone from Ecuador, maybe with the same mindset as I have, than I have with my neighbor probably. So and that's really like interesting, I think, and unheard of before in human history. So it's really exciting to see what the future holds.
yes, so.
Yeah. So 10 years, no, nothing's gonna take 10 years.
Yeah, and I think in a sense, like exactly that you mentioned, how you said that it's unheard of that people can connect sort of globally and sort of find like-minded people like that. But I think the one thing that will bring them together and what's going to be essential in bringing them together are sort of communities, such as the Cfinders and these sort of like digital smaller communities where it's easier to, where you have sort of more contexts around connecting with people. Yeah, then.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all about communities and the people you know and the networks you are in. Because Cfinder, the other thing that happens in Cfinder that already has happened, even though like this was like a long ago, we started developing this product and service, and we launched it in February, the 1st of February, I think it was, or the last of January. And this is the strength of being in the right context, is that there was one consultant that told me about an assignment at the big bank. And I happened to know another consultant that was without an assignment, and they had similar profiles. And I asked the guy that came with the assignment and said, like, okay, are you interested in taking it, or are you doing like? He's like, no, I'm happy where I am. So it's like, okay, but you know, this guy, he needs an assignment. Like, could you guys talk to each other and maybe, you know, find, like, help each other to the assignment? And they did. They talked to each other, and the consultant ended up like getting the assignment through the other consultant. So that's the strength of the network as well. Did Veli-Pekka drop out?
Oh no, I'm still here. I just I just put my video away sometimes. So
okay. Yeah.
I think it helps with the connection here.
Yeah. So no, I was just saying that the network, the strength of the network, is not always like that easy to understand in the beginning, but like the information flow is what you need to focus on. And like consultants that know stuff, are willing to share stuff. It's not just assignment. It's about like, okay, so what is it? What is the Google language called? Ansi, do you know? Help me. I don't remember.
I can't remember either. It's
Okay, doesn't matter. But let's say like, yeah, okay, so Java is on its way out. Like no one's going to use Java because of XYZ. If you know this, you have like such an edge towards the people that are like, yeah, I'm just going to continue to do whatever I've been doing for 10 years because I hope it's going to work for the next 10 years. So that's the strength with communities. And that's what I think Veli-Pekka was, what you meant, Veli-Pekka, with saying that, you know, it's all about context and the communities, such as Cfinder, for instance, and maybe you guys as well.
Yeah, it's sort of in the fact that I think the information flow is actually really good in communities. They help with that. I wanted to, since we're sort of talking about this new global opportunities and the possibility to work from anywhere, I wanted to ask, what's your view on the general situation about regarding remote work in Sweden? Is it still like when people, for example, freelancers get new gigs, are they required to be on site, or are companies already moving into more just like managing remotely?
Like before Corona, no question, like you need to be on site. It's not possible to work remote, you know. It just can't be done. And then when Corona hit and everybody was starting to work from home, well, like first 2 weeks, everybody was happy, like, oh, this is nice. 3 or 4 weeks more, they were like, yeah, okay, but I miss my colleagues. And then like people started to think it sucked for a while, and now it's new normal. But I think that like it's still, I feel like companies are still like just waiting. Like, is this going to blow over? Like, because Sweden, for instance, we didn't have a lockdown in the sense that many other countries did. We carried on pretty much as usual. Only thing that a lot of people work from home, like remote, and social distancing was like really a thing for a long time before the summer. Now no one cares anymore. It seems like people are cramming up in bars and stuff. But yeah, in the beginning at least, like people really respected it, and I got a lot of like, you know, people from abroad, like people that I know from abroad that I talk to, like, what are you guys doing in Sweden? Like, what is, like, are you crazy? And, you know, I was like, it's not how it's portrayed in the news, you know. It's like, I went actually to like the city central, like of Stockholm, which is like really, really crowded always. And I saw 3 people there in March. And I'm actually now in an office that's really close, and it's still not a lot of people here. Like, no, it's not 3, but it's like, it's not like, it's at least like 10 meters between everyone. So, you know, so people are available, like are managing, like they can still do a lot of the things that they do, but they don't do it in if they don't necessarily have to. So I think that the change hasn't really hit yet in the consultant market. I think that maybe also there's an aspect of like, do we really want that? Like because, you know, imagine being a consultant in Sweden, you take 100 euros an hour, and all of a sudden distance doesn't matter, and some guy from India does it for 10 euros an hour. What's going to happen, you know? So I don't know. I think that it's going to be more a mix. Like they want a day or 2 a week, and then the rest is remote. And also like, maybe it's going to be like, you got to be on site until you prove that you're good at what you do and you do the right things and you understand what we're doing here. You understand our business, and then you can just go remote. Almost like an employee. Like, I don't know what your experience is, but I think that it wasn't a problem working remote before either. If you were an employee and they knew that you did your job. Like my previous employer, I would say that like 50% of the staff did not care at all where you were. And my boss, which is actually like my colleague now at Cfinder, he did not care he didn't care at all. But those who did care, they could come with like some comments like, oh, okay, so you're coming in at 11. I'm like, yeah, because the clients and consultants that we need to office, they're out there. What are you doing here? What are you chasing?
that was one of the best comebacks I've heard about the issue.
Yeah, but it's true. Like, why are you at the office? Like, what's that? Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. The clients are probably sitting next to you here, are they? So yeah. So I think that for many people it wasn't maybe, or many people now, you have to realize that you're in a really like privileged position, working in the way that all of us do. But in that sphere, if you may, or in that context, I don't think that, like, I think that many people could work remote before, and it's just going to increase. So consultant gigs, I think that maybe it's going to be more important with the quality assurance. Like, it's not going to be like, yeah, I'm from India, hire me. It's going to be even more important to be in the right context. So if you are in a context where someone makes sure that you are a good consultant and knows what you're good at and knows what you're bad at and can vouch for you, then it won't matter if you're in India or in Sweden. But you need to get into those communities. So that's probably going to be a way for, if I'm going to be frank, like, shut out low wage countries from taking our jobs.
And I think it's quite a lot of all about also that you really care about what you are doing, and you understand what you're going to do, and really bring value. It's not always about coding and getting stuff done, but it's actually really work as a team and have
thing. I'm guessing that, like, it's going to be a lot easier for a Swedish company to hire a Finnish developer because of the similarities, because we probably work, like, Finnish people tend to be more straightforward, I guess. Like, this sucks. This is really sucky. That's ugly. I think it's ugly. You should change it, or whatever, or quit doing this. It's annoying. But apart from that, I think that it's easier for a Swedish person to tell a Finnish person, like, could we do this instead, than maybe a culture from far away, because it does matter. So I think that maybe in the Nordic countries, Germany, maybe even Poland and stuff, it's going to be really easy to get a consultant gig within those countries, like, with different assignments. Different clients. But we need some sort of tool to talk to each other. That's the only thing that needs to be in place. Salespeople that can trust each other, consultants that can trust salespeople, clients that can trust salespeople, and also other clients. And I think the quality assurance is the key to that, and we need a tool. And I think maybe that Cfinder could be that. I don't know. So that's my take on it. What was the question?
I can't remember.
Remote work.
Yeah, it was about remote work, but
yeah,
I think the tangent was was really valuable as well.
Good.
But it sounds really like the take on remote work sounds really similar to Finland's, right, Anssi?
Yeah, I would say so also.
Yeah. But I think we are still the sort of situation with outsourcing to lower wage countries is not. I haven't heard that much about it in Finland.
No, I don't think so either. No, I don't think so either. I think it's still the quality assurance, because, like, there was a wave of outsourcing, at least in Sweden, for let's say like 8 years ago, that where everybody was outsourcing their stuff to, like, the cheapest place, and that sort of did not work out. So people are taking things back, and maybe there's going to be like a middle way for them, like outsourcing some stuff. I know friends that work with startups, and he tells me that, or one of them tells me that, I outsource stuff that is really straightforward, like, develop this, make this button green, bye, like stuff like that. It's impossible, could you build this product from nothing to everything. Like it's not possible, like, because it's going to be so much misinterpretation and stuff. And with the culture differences with, for instance, India. I don't mean to talk badly about them, but this is what I heard. I can't say that I have experienced it myself, but this is what I've heard from other people, that they are really good at doing tasks that you tell them like exactly what to do, but maybe they're not as good as taking own initiatives and also maybe telling when something is wrong because of maybe hierarchies in the culture and stuff like that. So yeah, no, I think you're right. It's not going to be like low wage countries immediately, but maybe like in a while it could be. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. And so sort of, and I think there also will be like these sort of unified ways of working in the future as well. Because
yeah. But also the thing we were talking about, like someone in Ecuador, maybe it's not going to be lower wage countries anymore. It's going to be low wage jobs and high wage jobs. So the Indian will make the same as the Swedish one because they're doing sort of the same job. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I'm like way ahead in the future, but I think like the states as they are now, they're not going to last. It's a like 250-year-old invention, and we invented all of these stories about like, yeah, this is what it is to be Swedish. What like in the 1700s, like no one cared. It was like, what language do you speak, and who's your king? And so it's quite a new story, and I think that maybe it's been like national romantic stories that has been told because they need something to unify people, with a lot of immigration that falls sort of. And when I consider myself Swedish as well, so me as a Swedish person, that I have more in common maybe with you guys or my friends in the UK or someone in Ecuador than I have with my neighbor. That is problematic for the States.
Yeah, and it really goes back to sort of what you, Anssi, said before, that especially now that Corona came and we sort of all stayed in our homes, it was actually really easy to see that the borders sort of just disappeared all of a sudden when they didn't matter to you that much anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is, because it was sort of a lockdown here, like it was a volunteer lockdown in Sweden, so like at least we are like early, because we were like, we can't blame like bigger companies that they don't work remote if we don't do it, that we have all the possibilities to do it. But what I noticed, like on a private, like privately, it was like, I started to contact people more, like people that I used to meet, I didn't meet with them, not digital either. It was more like I was talking to other people because borders and distance didn't matter anymore. So I hang out with the people I wanted to hang out with, like really. So like this asshole friend of mine, maybe he isn't really my friend. He's just like making time go like past time because he happens to live next to me or close to me.
Yeah, you sort of stumbled into him accidentally sometimes, and then it kind of felt like you knew each other.
Yeah. Best friend still, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good tagline for that.
Yeah. So that's basically my thoughts on it. And I don't know if you want to elaborate on what's going on in Finland and stuff like that, because I think that there's a lot of similarities. As you said, that there's a lot of do you know someone? Yeah, I know someone. This is still like prevalent in Sweden, but then it went sort of to the framework agreement stuff, and now it's sort of coming back again to do you know someone? Like not everything needs to go through the big agreements.
Yeah, and it's actually quite often doesn't matter what is the thing. It might be that sometimes you go to the far end and then you go a bit back and then you during the time.
Yeah,
it really works.
Wasn't it like Hegel, the philosopher, that said it's like a pendulum? Like, so we're here and then we go like full-blown something, and then we're like, shit, this didn't work out, and then we go back again. Like that's how it goes.
Thesis, antithesis, and then synthesis.
Exactly. He knows his philosophy. VP. Maybe you should just change it to P, like not the vice president, the president. Ansi, you're in trouble.
Hey, I took philosophy in high school. I know my
okay,
stuff.
nice. I can tell. You should have told me that before I went, embarrassing myself.
I love this podcast because you always learn something new.
Yeah. To return to the framework agreements, is that a thing now in Finland, Anssi? Have you heard about those a lot?
I think it's it depends on the customers, but yeah, the bigger ones are having that kind of things. That's I think it's of course good. For example, help a bit that there is less contact points on making the deals and things like that.
But I guess we could be wrapping this up. Thank you, Sebastian. This was fun.
It was a pleasure. Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you for having me.
Fun and informative. So just sort of go through once more. So Cfinder is available all around the world, not just in Sweden.
No, it's digital. So I mean, it's available on the internet, and we don't even have like office spaces. Like people ask me, where's your office? Internet, bitch. Like, so we're actually looking at like spaces to be, but yeah, that's a fun thing to say right now. So no, we're available on the internet, like everybody can join. We're mainly focusing right now on Sweden, even more so in Stockholm, because we're quite new. But we think it's really fun to like meet new people, and like the more different you are from us, the more fun it will be. Like the more we'll probably have to learn from each other. For instance, this wasn't like too far geographically, but I like learned a ton of stuff and got new ideas and stuff and new ways of thinking. So everybody's welcome to join us. And the name is, I think it's a good name, but phonetically it's like hard because people be like Cfinder, like the sea, the ocean, or do I see something? Or so it's a C like Caesar, the letter C, and Finder. So it stands for Competence Finder, Consultant Finder, Client Finder, whatever Finder. So Competence Finder was the first. So, but you can use it as you want. No profanities though. So it would be like a lot of fun if some consultants from Finland would jump in and say hi from Finland. I would love that. My heart is really warm. Like I'm really like, I feel really Finnish. so it would be nice to have some countrymen in the platform.
Oh, nice. Let's see if we could have some people on board. And the sign up was free, and so you're getting the community.
We have two like versions. So we have like a premium account where you pay a membership fee and you get a little bit more extra things. But like just going in and putting your CV there, chatting with people, that's all free. Oh. And everybody gets a 2 weeks trial. So go bananas.
Great. So yeah, I think that will be a good opportunity for people to look into to get some insight into what's happening over there, and to maybe even start getting some gigs for themselves.
Yeah, it would be really nice to see if we could like help someone in Finland to get a gig in Stockholm or Sweden. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, let's definitely let's try and see and work with that in the future as well. But as I understood, you need to get going. So
yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, this was really fun, and I could talk all day, but I need to leave. So yeah, I hope to hear from you guys in the future.
Yeah, let's stay in touch, and let's see if we'll have you on a second time as well. I think
we'll do a part 2. Like we went bankrupt. So all my thoughts were.
It's gonna be. That happens. There's gonna be a lot to talk actually. So that's
yeah. That's it. What did we do wrong? And
exactly. But nice. Let's continue later. And you have a good day over there.
Thank you.
Cheers.